today I have with me one of my colleagues, Apurva. We both are law researchers at the Jharkhand High Court. So we are going to talk about that role and let you know what it is like. So Apurva, law researchers का mainly काम क्या होता है? It's basically like कि we are the assistants of the judges. We are like a shadow to them.
Right. So it actually differs from office to office and court to court. It depends on your judge, what your role will ensue, what your workload will be, if you would be required to go to their residence or not. For me personally, I don't have to. I had never.
Neither me. But there are colleagues of ours who do have to go to their residence and work like before the court's hour and after the hours as well.
Right.
So it depends completely. So starting with the application process, it is like every high court has their own process. It starts with mostly applying for the role along with all your certificates and mark sheets, and then particularly in Jharkhand there was this application process and then the interview. So there was this two steps only. So talking about the interview process, Apurva, how was it for you?
It was honestly very nerve-wracking. It was the first interview that I ever had to face. I was in the final year of my law school, and so I went for my interview after being shortlisted for the application that we had sent in, and I will just one thing that happened before the interview itself was that we were required to bring in a list of documents along with us, our grade card and the transcripts of every semester of law school. What I did not do was I did not read the fine print. I messed up. I took the photocopies of my grade cards, and we were required to bring in the originals, and I did not do that. So this officer of the establishment of High Court, he chided me a lot. He was like, "You're very irresponsible. You probably won't get to go through the interview, etc., etc." So I just made a request that this is what I have right now. I will bring my original set of documents day after, or tomorrow or whatever, and you can verify the same. So that is how I was let into my interview.
So did you bring those documents the other day?
I did end up bringing the original set of documents the day after.
And they verified.
They
from
verified
your,
it.
The Xerox
Yes,
ones.
yes, they verified it. They had kept the Xerox copies and they verified the same from the original set of documents. It was very embarrassing, to be honest, because there were a lot of people there who were sitting for the interview process, waiting for their turn. That's how I was let into the interview. So before the interview, there was this computer test that we had. We had to go in, and a computer was provided to us. And what we were asked to do, like of all the online databases, we were given Indian Kanun. We were given a citation, and we had to pull out that judgment. So that is one thing. You had to do that.
For me, the computer test was such like that. They asked me to type something about myself. So they gave me around a minute or two, and they told me to write about myself. So I was typing, and then they asked me to like just save that file on the computer. I don't know what they were checking and all, but they said me कि you just save this file and take a printout of the same.
Right.
So we had to take the printout of what we have written, and that was attached to our file along with the mark sheets and all, and that went in with us with our when the interview was held. So it was presented to the judges or the panel of the interviewer, and they were also given that. So along with that citation thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for adding to that, because I did not remember that at all.
It was very bad for me. Like I wasn't able to type. They had given a literal desktop system with the keypad, and I wasn't used to that. So.
Right. So when I went in for the interview, like you said, we had that slip of paper, right, of our interests and whatnot in front of us. And so for me, the panel of the interviewers consisted of the Vice Chancellor of my college.
You're from.
I am from National University of Study and Research in Law, Ranchi.
Okay.
So the Vice Chancellor at that time, back in 2022, the VC of my college, the head of Jhalsa, and a High Court judge. So the panel consisted of that. They asked me about what my interests were. Then they proceeded on to ask me why I wanted to, join this role, what I was looking from it, what I would bring to this role. Then they went on to ask me a couple of, very research-based questions, primary research, secondary research. What are the platforms, the online databases, and the resources? Where could you, where would you go? They presented me with a set of questions, and they were like, if you were to research about this topic, where would you go to?
Okay.
How would you go about it? So that's what I told them, that these are the, databases.
They asked a similar question to me. They actually gave me the FCC online book, and they asked me that you take out any of the judgments and just make the honorable understand what that judgment relates to. Take a minute or two and just make them understand. So it was the same for me, and they asked some like a typical differences between Article 32 and 226. What's the difference between then 226 and 227?
Right.
Who has more power in comparison to Supreme Court and High Court regarding that? They asked me questions related to criminal law itself. So that was my interview experience.
Right. Furthermore, they went on to ask me, a criminal procedural question, which honestly I was defeated. I did not know the answer to it. So I was beating around the bush, trying to say whatever, set of knowledge that this brain stored about procedural law. But yeah, they're not going to be fooled. They know what the answer is. They know you. They know that you are beating around the bush. So I was called out. I was asked the same question again with emphasis, and I was like, yeah, sir, I do not know the answer to that. A smile and acknowledging that you don't know the answer goes a long way. You just admit that you don't know and that you would look into it. That's all.
In my case, the only people who were questioning were the Chancellor and the member of the Jhalsa. The Honorable Justice did not question me any of the questions. He just told me ki, you can go now. So it went for around 5 to 7 minutes. So I can say it was like a mediocre interview level. So it wasn't that tough for me.
No,
I was just being confident. So confident with whatever knowledge you have, just put in that and just be confident you will get through that. So that's the key.
Right.
And after joining, when we had to bring all those documents and all, so there was this condition that before the date of joining, you have to have your last semester's mark sheet with us. But my exams were conducted just like a month or two before, so I did not have that. So a trouble came for me during that time. So what they did was they took an undertaking from me that you can submit your mark sheets as and when they come. So that went on, and after we joined,
I had a very similar experience. I remember, a couple of us were sitting in the establishment with our undertakings that our mark sheet hasn't been processed yet, so
it will take a
it'll take a while, and so yeah, we had that trouble with the joining process, but
everything else was
very smooth.
Very smooth, yeah. And along with that, in Jharkhand there is a special thing that they provide an accommodation for the outside candidates. So
Right.
I was an outside candidate, so I have been given an accommodation along with other female candidates. So it's a kind of shared dormitory basis. So that's an added advantage while you're working as law researcher at Jharkhand.
Right. Also, one thing to note is that it's not a co-ed. It's the dormitory or the accommodation that is provided. It's different for women, and it's a separate facility for men.
Yeah, so it provides for both men and women.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, if you are from Ranchi itself, you cannot apply for the same because you already have a home here. So you will not be able to avail this accommodation if you are from Ranchi. Otherwise, if you're from outside Ranchi, even in Jharkhand, like I am from Hazaribagh, I was also provided the option to avail the facility. I just choose to opt out of it.
So it depends.
Yeah, it
That's
depends.
an added advantage when you join Jharkhand High Court as the researcher. So after we joined, like for 15 or 20 days, it was just a free period. We were allowed to like visit courts, sit there, listen to the proceedings, just to get used to the courts.
Workings of the court. We were not allotted a specific judge or attached with a specific judge. It happened after, like Ankita says, a 15-20 day period. We were allotted to our specific judge. It broadly, you could say that it was based off of the ranks of the interview
that the judges were
yeah,
allotted based
yes.
on their seniority. We got the allotment letters.
Yes.
So after we got the list, we were all like, what to do next? We were so confused and all. So the next day we went, like for me it was like I immediately ran to see where the office, where the chambers of the justice was, and get to know what was the working like. So I contacted this person from his office. He told me to come and visit next day morning at around 9:30, 9:45. The judge usually comes at that time, though the court starts at 10:30. So I was right there before his chamber's door at 9:30, just to interact with him. So it went like this for me. What was your?
I got a call from, again, very awkward, very embarrassing. I call from someone in my office. It was, so at the time I did not know that they're from my office and, they're senior to me and it's a legal assistant that I'm speaking to. So she gave me a call. She's like, hello, I'm so-and-so. You need to come down to the legal assistant office. We have some work allotted for you. So I was like, okay, yes, hi. And I called her by her name. That was a big faux pas. When I went down, I could see that, she's senior to me. She's in my office. And I shouldn't have called her by her name. So that is when I started calling her ma'am. But yeah, that's one thing that
things you learn eventually.
Yes.
Yeah, we just stepped out of the college. We didn't
Yeah,
know
we
what
did not.
what it was like in the real life, and
But that's how work experience would be. You would in college you're living in a bubble of your own world, and then you step out of it. You go to your workplace and you're like, oh, this is
life.
how it is.
Yeah.
So you do get to learn, a disciplined work ethic at the High Court
My
as well.
experience was very different, I would say. When I entered the judge's chamber for the first time, he was very humble. He sat me down. He was like, where are you from? Tell me more about yourself, your interest. What kind of work do you expect from us? And what are the things that you might need to do for me? So he explained me all the process, and the first day he asked me to just attend the court proceedings so that I get to know the things better. So after the court proceedings ended, I again went to his chamber, and he offered me a cup of coffee, and that was very very humble and very new for me. Sitting down with the honorable and having a cup of coffee was a next level experience. So it was very 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 good one. And now also I'm working as under the same honorable. So my work relates to attending the court proceedings, making synopsis for the cases that has been put up on the list on the daily basis, researching some of the cases that the lordship requires to be researched on, and making a summary for all the judgments that has been pronounced by the lordship, so that it can be compiled in a book. So that is my role.
Right. For me as well, I think you touched on the basics. For me as well, I had to attend court proceedings as well, division bench, single bench. Um, when you're in the court attending the court proceedings, what that ensues is that if the counsel is arguing, you and he or she they bring up a specific case law reference, you have to write it down for your purposes of reference, or for the reference purposes of his lordship. You have to take down those notes. You can if the argument is on a particular question of law that you think should be noted down, you have to make a summary of that. Or if his lordship himself asks for you to pull out a judgment, you have to do that. Time is of the essence. Quick, you do that. And when we're sitting in the back offices, what we do is we go through the orders and that have been passed by his honorable. We get to see the files, and it's very nuanced. Actually, you have to read the impugned order. You have to go through the list of dates. You have to cross-verify the annexures and everything, so that no date or the name of the parties or the arguments that have been presented already, at the lower court and the tribunals, nothing goes awry. Everything is in order. Nothing is, wrong. Basically, nothing is incorrect. So you have to proofread that. Also, you have to look up for case laws and judgments, on the question of law that the order has been passed. So that is what my work entails as well. And like you said, the summaries of the judgments that his lordship has pronounced. So I think it's a practice in the High Court that a case compilation is made of all the reportable judgments that have been pronounced by the lordship, and you have to make summaries of all those cases, and then it's compiled and put up in a book for the easy availability and accessibility of his lordship.
Moreover, we need to prepare speeches and study notes for the conferences and some other functions or events that the honorable attends. So we need to prepare for that as well. I have prepared for the conferences that has been held at the Judicial Academy of Jharkhand. So that work also is included in our domain.
Yeah, for me as well.
So the structure at the back office of an honorable court is different for all the high courts, but in particular in Jharkhand, what we have seen is that there is a structure of a group of 7 to 10 members that are behind the judges. So there is a personal secretary, a personal assistant, there is a legal assistant, and there's law researchers, and there are other members who are there to type out
Staff members as well, yes.
Who types out the orders and order sheets and all. So that's the structure. So we are generally it's for you it is like the legal assistance gives you the
right. So for me, basically, I get to interact more with the legal assistants. That is, so there are currently in my court there are 2 legal assistants, 1 law researcher, that is me, and I am basically all the work that is provided is by the personal assistant, the files that they have typed out, in the court, a specific file or whatever. So I'm given files by them or by the legal assistants as well. The interaction, to be very honest, with his lordship is, you could say it's minimal, because the senior most legal assistant in my office is so he basically gets the work allotted by his lordship, and then he comes to our office, and then
he distributes the work,
it's a trickle down process.
He allots it to you. But it's different from my office. From the first day itself, the lordship had asked me that if he requires anything from me, he'll get it done from me directly. So I have minimal interaction with the legal assistant. Whatever it is, I have with the lordship. It has been a number of times that he has called me down to his office just to discuss what the order might look as, or maybe what the judgment that he needs to pronounce, and he needs help for that work. So it's different for all the offices. So just to conclude, we would say that if anyone who wants to apply as law researchers for any of the high courts for that sake, so one needs to be on their toes and keep looking for these notifications that are on the websites of the High Court itself. You don't need to go anywhere else. Just be there, apply very carefully. Like she missed all the documents that needed to be produced, originals. So you need to be very careful about that. And one more thing, that they check it very carefully. Like in my case, what happened was that I hadn't seen it for a while, that in my mark sheet my father's name contained an error, a spelling error. The senior who was there checking all the documents pointed it out to me, that the name of your father in your 10th mark sheet and 12th mark sheet, they both differ just for a word. Like it was
For a
A
letter.
for an alphabet. Like it had to be A, it was written E, I guess.
Did you get it corrected?
I got it corrected later on. So it's very important that all of your documents are true, and there's no discrepancy at all. So that is.
Also, if you think that being on the website of every high court is very tedious, so definitely be on the lookout for these resources that you have: Law Clerks, Live Law, Bar and Bench. There are Instagram pages also, Opportunity Cell, etc. That where you can find these vacancies and their posts. But definitely the best place where you can go looking for is the website of the High Court. It can be a little tedious, but then job applications are tedious. Definitely be very thorough and read what they require from you. Not more, not less. Just what is required. That's something that you should keep in mind.
Moreover, the last year students can also apply. Like I was
Yes.
in my last year when I applied this. So anyone from fifth year or maybe the third year of 3 years courses can also apply.
Yes.
So be there.
I was also in my final year when I applied. You would definitely have to go through this task of having to go through the task of your final year mark sheet and everything, that you wouldn't have it on
But
hand.
I think the high courts are considerate enough.
Of course,
in
they're
this
definitely
matter.
considerate enough that you can
They-
just give an undertaking and you can join thereafter.
They do understand the problems related to this, because it is not same for all the universities
Right.
that they provide mark sheets immediately after the exams. So if you people do have any of the questions, you can just comment down below. We can answer that in this respect.
It was so much fun.
Thank you for
Bye,
watching.
guys.